Hi everyone, and welcome to my blush tournament. My first tournament video ever was blush, and that was already posted 2 years ago, which is wild. So of course there's been so many blush launches since then, and my tastes and preferences have changed a bit since then as well. So my blushes are going to be competing head to head against each other until I find my ultimate favorite. So let the tournament begin. So quickly, right before we get started, these aren't going to be featured in the tournament because at this point in time that I'm filming, I haven't tried any of them. So now let's unveil the bracket, because it's massive. There's 54 blushes in today's video. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get started. We're going to start on the left, then we'll move on to the other side. So first up, we have the Rare Beauty liquid blushes versus the E.L.F. Cosmetics liquid blush. So we have the original versus the dupe, and both of these products are really, really nice. They're very comparable as well. The E.L.F. ones do have a little bit more of an obvious pearlescent glow, but that's just me being very, very picky. It's not that obvious to like the naked eye. You just have to like really observe to see the difference. But they are very, very similar in formula, pigmentation levels, and all of that. For me, in this category, I think it's going to come down to the shades, and I do prefer the shades in the Rare Beauty line. Like the red one or this one here, Believe, is one of my top most used blush colors. E.L.F. did a fantastic job at duping this product. They're like the exact same thing. It's just really truly coming down to color for me. So Rare Beauty will be moving on to the next round. Now below we have the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wands versus the Glossier Cloud Paints. So I'm actually wearing this cloud paint on my cheeks today in the shade Black Cherry, and interestingly enough, the cloud paints were one of the first blushes I purchased when I had some adult money, and like, well, not like first blush ever purchased, but first higher end blush I ever purchased. That's when Glossier was like super, super popular and hyped up, and I loved these blushes. I wore them nearly every day, and I mean, I still have them in my collection. Oh my gosh, look what just happened to this one. Holy moly, what an explosion. I guess talking about the packaging first, neither of them are my favorite. I feel like I can squeeze out a little too much by accident pretty easily. So here we have Glossier, and this is Charlotte Tilbury. You can see, even though the Charlotte Tilbury ones are marketed as matte, they are more matte than the Beauty Light ones, of course, but in texture they do still have kind of like a serumy shine to them, whereas the Glossier ones actually set down and mattify without like looking too matte on the cheeks as well. I actually prefer the Glossier cloud paints. I just feel like they're a lot easier to work with. Sometimes the Charlotte Tilbury one can patch up on me, although I do think some of the shades are stunning and I can make them work. The Glossier ones have always just been a little bit more consistent, and again, I think the shades draw me in more than the Charlotte Tilbury ones. So Glossier will be moving on to the next round as well. Next up, we have the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes versus the Kaleidos Mono blushes. So with the Kaleidos ones, the two shades that I have in my collection right now are very, very sheer, and I kind of use them as blush toppers if I want to like bronzify one or make it more pink or kind of like neutralize the blush a touch. I never really use these on their own because they don't show up on me on their own. I just use them as tone shifters, I guess. You can barely see this one on my hand right here, but it's the shade Pearl Bliss, and this is one I use if I want to like bronzify a blush. Like if I added it over my red blush today, it would kind of make it look more sunburnt and bronzy, which is fun. But the Wet n Wild blushes are really, really pretty. They do have a few formulas in this line. One of them is matte and another one is like quite pearly. The one drawback of this formula is that they're like super, super loose. Like it really has a lot of kickback. You can see on my fingertip, I just lightly swatched it and you can see it like really picked up like chalk, and it could be like really powdery and kind of annoying to work with. I don't really reach for this blush as much just because of that powdery issue. Like already on my desk, it's like a mess like crazy. So that's one big drawback, but if you're using it very gently, like you just dip your brush into it once, it's a really pretty blush and you get really nice payoff, but it can get really messy quickly. If I'm being completely honest, neither of these blushes are my top favorite, but if I'm going to be picking one to move ahead, it would be the Kaleidos one because I do reach for it more, although I always just use it on top of something else. The mess that the Wet n Wild one does, like it just really puts me off. My poor keyboard is full of powder. Oh no. Next up, we have the NARS blushes versus the Makeup Forever Artist blushes. Now, I really like the NARS blushes. They did reformulate them recently, I believe, to not have any talc in them, and they do feel still really beautiful and like a classic blush. Really stunning shades too. But there's just something so special about the Makeup Forever blushes for me. They just have like one of the softest powder blush formulas ever, but it still feels like it has some like moisture in there, so it does adhere to your cheeks really well and it doesn't just like dust off. It also has like a super blurring formula. This is Makeup Forever and this is NARS. It just has such a pretty like whisper of color. The pigmentation is gorgeous. They're very buildable. And there's just something so special about these ones, as you may know, because I talk about them all the time. I will for sure be moving forward the Makeup Forever blush. Although it does kind of pain me to say bye-bye to NARS this early on into the video. I just have to be true to myself here. Now below that we have two baked blush formulas. We have the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blushes versus the Pure Nude baked blush from Essence. I adore the M Cosmetics blushes. They have some really gorgeous colors. The formula is really nice. It has a nice blurring base to it, but it also has like a really pretty built-in highlight that really amps up the glow, and it looks really beautiful and refined. Same with the Essence one. Like, it has a super soft and silky texture and a finer pearl, which I actually prefer. I just prefer how light this one looks on my skin, whereas this one looks like it adds kind of a heavier layer to your cheek, if that makes sense. And for the amount I reach for the Essence one, this one is going to be moving forward, although that also pains me because there's like some really stunning unique colors in this line. I just know that this would go the long haul with me. Like, I would choose this over the M Cosmetics ones for sure, just for how gorgeous and pretty and light and airy they are. This is one of the blushes I use every single day, and one of my favorite combos is actually the Makeup Forever in Wherever Rose with this one in Rosy Rosewood on top. Creates a really gorgeous combo if you want to add a little bit of glow and more blush if you are someone like me and you have blush blindness. Unabashedly. Don't care. I know fully. I'm not blind to it, actually. I'm very aware. Now we have the Tower 28 blushes versus Makeup by Mario, the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veils. So both of these formulas have a special place in my heart for sure. Like, God, this video is going to be a tough one for sure, but I'm just trying to not get into it as deeply as I did with the lip liner one, because that like actually stressed me out. But this, like, I went into this being like, this isn't actually a stressful situation. It's just for fun. So pigmentation wise, I would say the Tower 28 ones have that in the bag for sure. Like, they're a lot more pigmented. The Tower 28 ones I've had for so long too, and they're so beautiful and so special. The colors are stunning. Like, this one specifically is my top favorite out of all of them, Power Hour, which is like a gorgeous kind of rusty burnt shade. It's so pretty in the summer. What I really like about the Makeup by Mario ones though is that they're perfect for like a no makeup day. Like, they're very light and cute, but they add a really pretty glow while still having a little bit of a punchy color in there too. It's not like you're applying nothing and wasting money on nothing. The Makeup by Mario ones have the same kind of formula as the Skin Enhancer from Makeup by Mario. So if you're familiar with that and you love that, I think you would love these. But I kind of feel like I have a little bit more love for these. I don't know, something feels right to move forward the Tower 28 ones today. I start to get stressed and then I try to remember which formula I reach for more, and then that's my answer. I don't have to think about it even more then. Now we have the Clinique pop blushes versus the Rare Beauty powder blushes. So I really like both of these products. The one thing I will say about the Rare Beauty powder blushes, I don't really look at these as a blush. To me, these are blush toned highlights because they're so intense. Like, they're basically highlight first, blush second. So these can be super texture enhancing if you're not careful where you apply them. This is kind of a blush I only apply where I would typically highlight because they're like so crazy metallic and intense. But I paired it next to the Clinique ones because the Clinique ones are also kind of like a shimmery blush formula, but it's as shimmery of a blush that I would go personally, because I feel like this type of shimmery blush is much more flattering than this kind, and I can apply this in the center of my cheek or higher up and I still feel like it doesn't super exaggerate the look of my pores. I feel like it actually looks really nice and sunken in. If anything, this kind of shimmer almost makes it look creamy instead of like metallic and pearly and dry, if that makes sense. Like, this looks drier to me than this. So for that reason, Clinique is for sure going to be moving forward. Plus they have one of my favorite colors ever. Black Honey Pop is like one of the cutest blush colors ever. I do really adore the Rare Beauty powder blushes, but I use them as highlights for sure only. They don't even live in my blush section. So now we have blushes for like the no makeup girlies. We have the Merit Flesh Balms versus the Saie Dew Blushes. I think both of these are fantastic. One gives more of like a balm finish, whereas the other has like more of a serum-y finish, but they both have pretty great pigmentation. I think I'm gonna have a hard time here for a second. So here are both formulas compared. So this is Merit and this is Saie. I picked two very similar colors. This is Fox and Spicy. By the way, I'll have every single shade that I demoed on my cheeks written in the description box, just in case if you're curious. Ooh, this is tough. So for Merit, I typically will use them only if I'm doing like a really light makeup day, because they do have like a buildable quality to them, but not as buildable as a typical blush. You'll still see a little flush of color, but it won't be as intense as like a typical blush that we're used to seeing. Whereas the Saie ones, I feel like I could use them on like a no makeup day or like a full makeup day, just depending on the amount. Like you can really build them up depending on how much you use. So I think for that reason, Saie is going to be moving forward because they're more adjustable, and I can't let go of Spicy and the shade Chili too. Like those are some of my top used products ever. So Saie will survive another round. Now we've got two really good formulas again. I'm just such a blush addict. I feel like I've already been saying that the entire time, but we have the MAC Mineralized Blush formula versus the Huda Beauty blush filters. And this might feel like kind of like a random pairing, probably because it is. Not all of them had like a similar match to them, so some of these are going to feel a little bit weird. But I paired these ones together because they both have like a similar finish at the end of your makeup. One's just powder, one's just liquid. Although the Huda Beauty ones do mattify and dry down, but they just still remain looking creamy because they have like an inserted beautiful fine pearl in them. And same with the MAC one, although it starts as a powder, it still has like that really nice sheen to it. So here are the two formulas here. Of course, this one's still going to be wet for a little minute. Ooh, this is tough because I already know which one's going to be moving forward, and I know you know as well, which will be Huda Beauty, but I feel bad for leaving this one behind. Although I'm going to make it feel better because this is also a blush that I typically like layer over other blushes. It's like if I want to be excessive, I'll add this to the blush. Huda Beauty, it's one of my top favorite formulas ever. It's just so easy to use and the colors are gorgeous and the formula is just amazing. I can't recommend it enough. So obvious choice for me there. Huda is coming with us. Next, these two are a very good pair because they're so similar in like effect and pigmentation level. One's K-Beauty and one is Chinese Beauty, but they both deposit very light pigmentation. This one is so freaking cute because of the strawberry. So cute. So this is the Dasique Blending Mood Palette in Berry Smoothie, and this is the Flower Nose blush in Berry Mary. So, oh, both of these are strawberry themed, but like they're just way too freaking cute and beautiful. The detail in Flower Nose products just kills me. As you can see, I don't use this much because I just never want to ruin the beautiful imprint in the powder. And same with this one. I haven't touched this square yet at all because I just want to preserve it, which is so silly. Ooh, this is kind of tough because both of them are so gorgeous. I think I actually prefer the Dasique ones because you kind of get 4 options and you can kind of mix them up a little bit and kind of create your own shade, which is always kind of fun and exciting to do. It's like a controlled science experiment. You know what I mean? Like you can't go wrong. Flower Nose, I feel like has a gorgeous formula. Yeah, they're just way too pretty for me to use. I know that's like a silly reason to move forward the other, but this formula is really nice too. Like it does add such a little light coat of pigment. Ooh, I don't know what to do here. I need a minute actually. Because when I said that I wanted to move forward this one, I actually feel like I use these ones more because they're a little bit more adjustable and they kind of have like punchier colors. Whereas this palette specifically, like I will only use if I'm doing like a pinky makeup look that I want my cheeks to look a little bit milky. Like this doesn't always show up on me, which is something I just forgot. But these ones do. I'm just yapping. I'm just kidding, guys. The Flower Nose ones are moving to the next round. They're honestly such similar formulas, So it just really came down to packaging there at the end a little bit. Up next, Rose Inc versus IT Cosmetics. I believe that Rose Inc was the tournament winner in my first blush tournament video. Since then, the brand is kind of going bye-bye. Rosie Huntington stepped down and they were bought out by another brand, I believe. So kind of like the future of these blushes is unknown, although I still really love them. I just swatched the shade Daylily, which is one of my favorites because it can look kind of corally or neutral, really interesting. But the IT Cosmetics Sun Blush here has become kind of like a sneaky favorite of mine. I reach for this quite a bit. It's a really unique, like whipped feeling texture, and when you apply it to your cheeks, it's actually really cold. So it has like a really cooling feeling and really gorgeous pigmentation. This one has kind of become my go-to like appointment blush. Like if I have to leave the house for a quick like dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, I'm not going to get fully ready for all that, you know, I'm just going to put this on my cheek to make me feel lively. And I do that because the formula is so easy to blend out. It looks really, really natural, and you can apply just a little bit so it looks like a tint. It's a stunning formula, but I've just had so much history with the Rose Inc ones. I don't feel right to disqualify it yet. So Rose Inc will be moving forward, but both of them such stunning formulas. I believe you can still get the Rose Inc ones directly from like the Rose Inc website, but that's about it. Now we have Haus Labs Color Fuse Blush versus the Guerlain Terracotta Blush. And interestingly enough, a little bit of lore, Guerlain actually invented blush. Before this, it was like we'd apply lipstick to our cheeks as blush and such, or pinch our cheeks and stuff. Like they were like one of the first brands to actually come out with a specific product to blush. So I think that's really cool, and that's why I have this, but it's still kind of like just a basic blush because this is the beginning of all of it. With that being said, the Haus Labs blushes are stunning. They have such beautiful pigmentation, stunning colors, just like a really pretty punchy blush, but it still remains a little bit blurring and softening, which is lovely. The terracotta blush here is also really gorgeous too. Really, really soft, lightly pigmented, something you have to really build up. So that's like the biggest difference out of these two, is that one you have to build up and one you have to kind of be careful with because the pigmentation is there with the Haus Labs ones. Ooh, okay. For me, it's going to be going to Haus Labs for sure, because I just reach for these far more. And whoop, this specific shade Watermelon Bliss I use all the time in the summertime. I'm already whipping out some of the like more red based looks, but this one is so special to me. It's going to be moving forward. We got some more sticks here. So we have the Westman Atelier blush. And this shade is Doudou, which is so cute. This is going to be going up against the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick. This is the shade Pomegranate, and it's just so pretty. Oh my gosh. It's like a red blush, but it has like a lot of like fuchsia-y tones to it, but also like a really deep, almost like bloody undertone to it, which I really like. Although these two are in stick form, they have some pretty significant differences. I feel like the Makeup by Mario ones kind of have like a serum-y sheerness to them when you blend them out, whereas the Westman Atelier feel more mattifying, silky, and opaque. Like you can't really see through them as much. One is more matte in finish and the other is more glossy, serum-y, dewy looking on the cheek. That's like the biggest difference out of both of them. I like both those things though. I would have to say I think I reach for Makeup by Mario more often, and the shades that I have in the Westman Atelier ones don't really like grab my attention that much. Like I don't think of them right off my head. But if I'm in the mood for like a red blush, this is one that pops to mind. So for that, I think about it more. Therefore, I feel like I like more. Makeup by Mario is winning. So these two to cap off the left side here are newer formulas, but I have been using them the last couple weeks, so I wanted to include them in today's video. So we have the Urban Decay Face Bond Blush Suedes versus the Saie SuperSuede blush, which I thought was funny that they both came out kind of in the same time and they both have suede in the name. The Saie one is more so like a baked blush formula, very similar to the Essence or EM Cosmetics too, now that I'm thinking about it. In finish, you can see it's a lot more glowy than the EM Cosmetics or Essence. Maybe I'll swatch those real quick for you guys so you can get a good visual, and I want to see a visual too. So here's Saie This is Essence, and then this one here is M Cosmetics. If anything, it's far more glowy. It's what I expected the Rare Beauty powder blush to be more like. Whoa, on camera here, this Saie one actually looks even more metallic than the Rare Beauty powder blush, but that's not what it actually really looks like in person. I think it's because this specific shade, Mia, has kind of like a silvery reflect, whereas this one is definitely like a pink pearl, so it looks more dramatic because it's white. But I actually really like these Saie ones. They're really, really pretty. They're a little bit different than what I usually gravitate to for like a shimmery blush. As you can see, like these ones do have shimmer in them, but they almost look more matte and blurred. But this one does have a little bit more of like an enhancing texture thing going on, but it's nothing too crazy. The base is very blurred. I think that's what I like. And then it's just like a 2-in-1 for me, basically. I'll apply this only where my cheekbone is, kind of up here, and it adds like a really pretty glowy effect. Is it like a top favorite ever? Probably not, but I have been wearing them a ton. Now here's a side-by-side comparison of the Urban Decay Suede blush versus Saie SuperSuede. The Urban Decay ones kind of have that really pretty softened, blurred kind of look to them. This is in the realm of like the Dior powder blush or like the Nabla powder blush. It has like that very soft kiss of color that feels like it's almost infused with like a really pretty translucent powder, so it blurs a ton. Ooh. Which one do I see myself using more? I feel like the Urban Decay, for that reason, is not as unique to me, but the Saie ones feel very unique, and it's just something I don't typically like, but I actually like this one, which is shocking. So I think for that reason, Saie will be moving forward. I think instead of jumping to the other side, I'm just going to continue with the left side, then move on when I'm done, just so that things don't get so confusing on my end over here with literally 54 blush formulas. My desk is already a mess. So up top, once again over here, we've got the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush versus the Glossier Cloud Paint. Ooh, I think I already had kind of like a gut instinct here, and my gut is telling me to move forward Glossier. I think just because I've had it since like the dawn of my makeup life, and they're just so special. And I do prefer how much easier they are to work with, because as we know, the Rare Beauty ones pack a punch, and some days that really, like, I just don't even want to be bothered with accidentally adding way too much pigment. So Glossier is winning this round for sure. Now we have the Kaleidos Mono Blush versus Makeup Forever. This one's a no-brainer for me. Makeup Forever is moving on. Below we have the Pure Nude Baked Blush from Essence versus Tower 28. And this round for me is really easy. The Essence Pure Nude Blush will be moving on. Ooh, Clinique versus Saie. I think just my love for Black Honey just goes way too deep. So for me, it's gotta be Clinique. I don't even feel like I need to speak for this next matchup here. Huda Beauty Blush Filter versus Flower Nose. I know you already know. It's gonna be Huda Beauty. Ooh, now this one is tough actually. Rose Inc versus Haus Labs. I feel like I might actually surprise you guys with this one, but I think Rose Inc is going to be staying behind and Haus Labs is going to be moving forward, because I truly actually just use this formula way more these days, which is kind of wild, but it's just the truth. And because I had kind of like an odd number of products, the next one is going to be moving quite a bit. So we have the Saie SuperSuede blush versus Makeup by Mario stick blush. There's lots to consider here, but I think for uniqueness, and I don't know if this is like because it's like a newer product, so it's just more upfront to me right now, but I truly think I do like the Saie one better, so that one will be moving to the next round. So back up top here, now we have Glossier versus Makeup Forever. So sorry Glossier, but truly does not have a chance next to my Makeup Forever River Rose. Like, I use that blush for real at least every second day, and on the other day that I don't use it, sometimes I'm a little bit sad. Then we have Clinique Black Honey versus Essence. Ooh, that's actually really tough. Both of these actually side by side kind of have a similar thing going. I think just because, again, my love for Black Honey goes so deep. Clinique. They'll be moving forward for sure. Now we have Huda Beauty versus Haus Labs. Huda Beauty for sure, because this is a unique liquid blush and this is more just like a classic powder blush we're used to seeing. So now we're getting to the nitty gritty here. So it's going to be Makeup Forever versus Clinique. Oh, this is like when it starts getting tough. I kind of like separating it, doing one half at a time instead of having all of the stressful ones back to back, but maybe you guys like the drama all at once and see me get really stressed out. Let me know. For sure, Clinique versus Makeup Forever, it's going to be this Makeup Forever one. And then, no brainer for me, Saie is too new to go all the way here. Huda Beauty, she's moving forward. Now, this is where it gets super sad. Maybe I'll move to the other side now, give this side a little bit of a break, so then there's some drama at the end. We'll see, I don't know. Oops. Oh my god, I thought it was not recording. So now, starting on the right side, we have some more big blushes. We have the Kosas Blushes Life versus the Well People Super Powder Blush. So these are very similar. If anything, they're like almost dupes of one another. I believe the Well People ones have been out longer, but the Kosas ones are so pretty. They have like a little planet-esque vibe to them because of the marbling. Same with the Well People ones. They're truly so similar to one another. Maybe the Well People ones have less of an intense glow to them, like the pearl is not so, but even so, like these look like they could be in the exact same lineup, hey. But I think for me this is going to come down to shades, and in the Well People one I only like the shade Hazelnut Harvest, which is this shade right here, whereas in the Kosas ones I love Euphoria and a few other shades that I just am blanking on right now. I feel like I reach for these a lot more than the Well People one, so that's what's going to decide this for me. Kosas. Below that, we have the Hermes Redimension Hydra Powder Blush versus the MAC Extra Dimension blushes. So again, these both have a really pretty shimmery finish. These are more intense than a baked blush, I would say. They have kind of like a more metallic finish to them. You can see like they're a lot more shiny. I prefer the Redimension blushes far more because on the cheek they actually don't look that metallic. They almost mimic like a cream, whereas the MAC one has a lot more of like a heavy metallic reflect once it's on the cheek. I feel like the Hermes one melts better into my base, whereas this one looks kind of like on top of my skin, if that makes sense. So just for the more natural vibe, I prefer Hermes quite a bit. Ooh, we've got some bougie ones up next here. The Gucci Beauty Cheeks and Eyes Powder Luminous Matte Blushes versus the YSL Make Me Blush blushes. So I pulled two of the YSL ones because there's actually two finishes in this formula. There's like a full matte and kind of like a radiant version as well. I actually have been adoring the YSL ones. The formula is really gorgeous in both finishes. So it really depends on what you prefer and what you look for. So this is like the more metallic one and this is the full matte. And the Gucci Beauty ones have been in my collection forever as well, and they're equally stunning. They just have more of like a fluffy feel. Gucci is more natural leaning, whereas YSL has more of like a punch to it, I would say. But if you're looking for something like a little hint of luxury, both of these are stunning formulas on the inside. I have just been way more drawn to the YSL ones for their formula and the packaging and just overall vibe and color. I really like the Make Me Blushes. There's another YSL formula up next. This is the Make Me Blush liquid versions. I actually don't like these as much. They feel very like K-beauty inspired. They have a really pretty like serumy finish. The Make Me Blushes ones, I have found that they kind of disappear on me throughout the day. They start off looking really cute, they just kind of go away. That formula is going to be competing against the M Cosmetics serum blushes, which kind of like shook up the internet a few years ago when everything was like super matte and very, very full glam. This was almost like the first formula of its kind back then, and it just made it super special, and it also came in like such a cute little bottle. This was wild for the time it came out. So I think that's what makes it so special, and although you get like a super serumy vibe from them, they do have payoff still. The Make Me Blushes ones disappeared in my brain. Like when I think of my blush collection just off the top of my head, if I'm thinking of a YSL product, it would for sure be the powder version and not the liquid. So for that, I'm going to be moving forward the M Cosmetics Serum Blush. They were super iconic. So now we have another Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand versus the Halo Glow Beauty Light Wand. And these are very similar, like they did a really good job at duping the product. I just find that the e.l.f. one is a little too glittery for my liking, or it looks too sparse, like the pearl in it looks too sparse on my cheeks, which can lead to like a patchiness look to the cheek. So I do prefer the original Charlotte Tilbury one over the dupe. We have some more stick blushes up next. The M Cosmetics So Soft blush versus the Rhode Pocket blush. These have a very similar finish or feel to them, like they have like an airy, more matte leaning cream texture. The Rhode ones are a lot more glossy in finish though, whereas M Cosmetics has like kind of like a more matte texture. Like these feel very silicone-y, silky feeling. Like they feel like they're full of air, like almost like a mousse. Same with the Rhode ones, they just feel like they have a little bit more of a balmy texture inserted as well. This one's quite easy for me. I really enjoy the M Cosmetics So Soft lineup. It's a really unique, really pretty formula to work with. The Rhode ones are really nice to work with as well, but unfortunately this does not last on me whatsoever. Like you would actually have to put this in your pocket and look like you have a little chode, I guess, for you to like retouch throughout the day, because it just like does not last on me whatsoever. Maybe if you had like a different skin type than me, it would, but I just can't get it to last. But the M Cosmetics one does have longevity, so M Cosmetics will be moving forward as well. I've just come to terms that I'm just not a Rhode Beauty lover, although I want to because the products look so cool and they feel like they would have a cool concept, but the reality of them on my skin texture and type, we're not a good match for each other. So now we have the LYS blush stick versus the Huda Beauty blush stick, and the Huda Beauty ones are actually discontinued, and if that was the case before the Huda Beauty blush filters were out, I would be like devastated because this was like such a good blush. But actually the blush filters have a very similar effect, but just a more refined formula, and they actually work a lot better, but they're still beautiful. Like this shade Rebel Red is just so stunning, and I think I'll be keeping it for a while. But the LYS blush stick is actually pretty amazing, and I'm so happy I kind of revisited my entire blush collection, because when I was filming my b-roll shots for this video, it really reminded me how beautiful this product actually is. Although again, it looks super like heavy and metallic on the cheek, it just looks really luscious and hydrating and really pretty without looking metallic. So LYS is getting the win here. Ooh, this is a good pairing here. We have the Surratt blushes versus the MAC Glow Play blush. So the Surratt ones are really interesting. They have a very different kind of texture, very soft and airy, almost like a whipped powder feel, which is interesting. It's because they have like a very special technique with their powder products. I believe that they could say like it's a slurry. Do I know what that means? No, but it sounds cool. So I'm like, that's cool and different. But these are really pretty cool blushes. The Glow Play blushes are like one of the most unique and one of the best blushes out there still to this day. Like these have been out for quite a while, like upwards of 6 years. I actually feel like it's been maybe more than that, but this is such a fun texture because it's actually cream and powder in one. It's like a really airy, fluffy cloud in a pan, and it's really squishy. It blends out like a cream, but it has like a powder-esque finish to it, very blurring, softening, but it does have a bit of a pearl, which adds some more cream-like glow to your skin. They're just ultimately so flattering, easy to work with, and just stunning through and through. I never have enough good things to say about this brush formula, so it's a no-brainer. She'll be moving on. I paired the two kind of weirdo blushes next to each other here. These both have like little balls in them, so that's why I paired them together. We have the Chanel Les Beige blush. So this one is like suspended little pigment spheres in like a serum, and you have to like pop them to get them going and get them even. Makes it like a really fun experience. And this is the Huda Beauty Face Gloss, which is kind of like a pH blush with these little pink pigment spheres. This looks really nasty, but it's so intriguing to me. Like I kind of love it because of how weird it is. But it actually is a really pretty pH blush. Usually I'm like, I really dislike that kind of stuff. I find it so gimmicky and they always look the same. But because they have like the addition of like the little pink pigment spheres, it really helps out. And it's actually like a buildable blush, cream blush. It doesn't look like much on my hand, but it actually is really cool and unique. But with that being said, the Chanel one is just like so gorgeous through and through. And I love popping the little pigment spheres. It's so satisfying. So Chanel you're moving forward. Now we have some stains. So this is the CALIRAY SoCal Super Bloom Lip and Cheek Hydrating Soft Stain. So this is almost like as if like the Saie serum blushes were also staining. Like it's a very similar formula. I'm swatching it on the other hand, so I still have my good hand to swatch all the other formulas, but I paired it next to the Milk Makeup Jelly Stain, these ones here. Both of these are super fun, awesome for like beach vacations or times you need your blush to stay on. Very different finishes, of course, as you can see, like this has like a gorgeous serumy finish, whereas this one actually dries down and it just like sinks into your skin and stains. So I think I actually prefer that when I'm looking for like a staining product. I am just more drawn to the Milk ones, and it could be because it looks like a push pop and like a jello stick. I think that's so fun. I do reach for these far more. So Milk Makeup, we'll be moving on. Ooh, we have some two classics here. The Dior blush versus the original MAC plain powder blush. Both of these are pretty iconic, but the one that will be moving forward for sure is Dior. I just prefer the color so much, and they almost like shift to your skin, which is really cool. This shade here, Berry, is one of my favorites for how unique of a tone it is. It's so pretty in the fall time, but of course like the original pink or rosewood or cherry, those are like always in my rotation. But look how cool that is. It's like a cool purple blush, and I feel like that's so interesting. We usually see like warm purple violet-y blushes. This one's so deep and cool. This is an easy win for me here. Dior for sure. Worth every penny for me. It's such a fun blush to play around with because it just always surprises me. It never looks like anything until you apply it to your cheeks, and it's so impactful and pretty and blurring because it does almost feel like it's mixed with like that translucent powder. Love it. We have the Nabla close-up blushes versus the Huda Beauty Cheeky Terry blush. My hands are getting so stained. Oh, I forgot, I wanted to show you how well the CALIRAY one stained after I had a moment to like rest on my skin. So once that top like glossy serumy layer goes away, it leaves that, which is stunning. But the Nabla close-up blushes have become such a major favorite of mine. If anything, it's actually kind of similar to the Dior blushes in a lot of ways, but they're just more punchy in pigment. I have a little bit of this red one called Endorphin on my cheek today over Black Cherry from Glossier. These Cheeky Terry ones, it's not my favorite. I think I'll pass these on to somebody else to try. I find that these get really, really patchy, and the shimmer in them kind of help with that too. These almost like act as if it was like a powdered stain, because like you apply them and they kind of just like lock in right away. Even if you apply them on a powdered base, they just kind of always have an obvious edge to them, and it's really hard to blend away that edge without like really messing up your entire base. So this is another easy one for me. Nabla. Oh, I just love the Nabla close-up blushes. I feel like those will go far too. And this is another kind of funny situation here. I didn't have enough blushes, but whatever I choose here is going to be skipping around, and we have the Givenchy loose powder blush, which is quite a unique concept, versus the Patrick Ta duos, the cream and powder duos. I really like the concept of the loose powder blush, but it is a little bit messy if you're not careful. I use whatever's left in the cap. I take my brush and I swirl it into the cap. That way I get more of a controlled amount, because if you dip in just into the loose powder, it can be like way too much product or super messy and crazy. But for the Patrick Ta blushes, these have been favorites of mine for so long because you get a cream and a powder, you can mix them or use them on their own or just have a little fun science time again. So they'll be moving forward for sure. The Patrick Ta ones are gorgeous, and the shades are super fun too. It's going to get really real here very quickly. So going back to the top, we have RMS versus the Kosas Blushes Life. I think immediately my gut is telling me to move forward RMS because of the uniqueness, and I use this specific shade Maiden's Blush all the time in the summer. Like that was like the only blush I pretty much went in with last season, so that one. So now we have the YSL Make Me Blush powders versus the M Cosmetics serum blushes. I actually don't really use the M Cosmetics serum blushes that much anymore. I kind of keep them in my collection just as like for good memories, I guess. It's really rare that I reach for them, whereas I see the YSL ones actually becoming like a highly reached for product for a while. So the YSL Make Me blushes will be surviving this round. Below that, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand versus the M Cosmetics So Soft blushes. And ooh, kind of tough because both of them have a really fun time and place. Which one is easier to work with? I would say the So Soft blushes from Cosmetics are easier to work with. Sometimes with the Charlotte Tilbury ones, it can have kind of like that stamping action. They can dry a little bit quicker than you think, but I do really love going in with that liquid sometimes too. It adds a really pretty radiance to the cheek. Ooh, I feel bad for disqualifying either one, honestly, because I really like both, but I think if I am going for like a shimmery blush, I don't know if I would think of the Charlotte Tilbury ones right away, whereas if I'm going for like a matte cream blush, like the So Soft ones come to mind immediately. I think I feel better to move forward the Cosmetics So Soft blushes. Now we have the LYS blush stick versus MAC Glow Play, and this is a very easy decision for me, the Glow Play blush, for how beautiful of a product that is. Now we have two unique ones once again, the Chanel versus the Milk Makeup Stain. Ooh, I'm actually starting to use the Milk stains more and more and more in my everyday life. I've always liked them, but right now they're really starting to become part of my routine, especially now that the weather's starting to get a little bit hotter, and on hot vacations and stuff, like they're perfect for those situations. I think the Milk ones have to move forward. Like I love them so much. Oh no, this one's so sad already. Not Dior versus Nabla. I feel like these are both very comparable. Oh, that's so tough for me. Oh, here's my first like crash out of the day. Oh no, I actually don't want to disqualify either. I actually feel like I could get emotional. It's so ridiculous. Me like 20 minutes ago when I was saying that I'm not going to freak out like I did with the lip stains, I think I'm going to freak out even more. What I'm even talking about, not lip stains, lip liners. Okay, I'm losing it. I need a Diet Coke. Ooh, okay. I think it's gotta come down to the shades. I'm really trying to think of which ones I go to more. I think it's Dior. I think Dior, yeah. Although, oh my God, Nabla, please forgive me. I love them so much, but this is not that deep. I have to remember, it's not deep at all. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Okay, I did it. I made a decision. So now, kicking us back up to the top, RMS versus YSL. And I think here, both have such stunning effects and colors, but I think, ooh, I actually don't know if I think. Okay, you know what? I just knew it. I'm choosing a YSL because they have the matte versions and like the glowy version, but I'm going to miss the Shade Maiden's blush so much. Okay, I need to swatch them. Oh, okay, you know what? I know I regret that feeling. I don't like what I'm feeling, and I'm so sorry, Hermes. My decision was bad. It's Hermes. It has to be. Like for how much I used it last season, and I can't wait to whip it out when I'm a little bit tanned. Ooh. So now we have Cosmetics versus MAC Glow Play, and I'm seriously not even playing around. That one, so easy, Glow Play, almost every time. Okay, Dior versus Milk. Ooh, this is just gonna get tough. I think, oh, it's Dior. Who am I kidding? It's Dior. Okay, so now we have RMS versus MAC Glow Play. Easy, once again for me, it's going to be MAC Glow Play blush. And then we have Patrick Ta versus Dior. Ooh, these are like, for sure, all my favorites. Like this section here, the last four on each side, really tough for me to pick between, for sure. I really have to reason with myself here. Like I love the 2-in-1 capabilities, but I love how unique this blush is from Dior. I feel like I have been kind of, maybe this is like tougher than it sounds, like losing my love for the Patrick Ta ones, but sometimes I feel like they're way too pigmented for me to layer them, so I always just use one or the other formula. But I think I actually reach for the Dior ones more in my everyday life for the colors, like Rosewood, the pink, the red, and that berry shade I use so often. So I just feel right in moving forward Dior. Okay, let's go back to the left now that I've had some time to have a break. So we have the Makeup Forever Wherever Rose, or the Huda Beauty, the blush filters from Huda Beauty. Thank you. All the blush names in my head right now really starting to confuse me. Now that I've had some time to think, I don't have to anymore. It's the Huda Beauty, for sure. Going to the semifinals. Going to the finals, I mean. That's the finals. It's already the finals. Okay, and then we have Dior versus Glow Play. I think Glow Play. I don't have to even say I think, I know it's Glow Play. So here are my two finalists. MAC Glow Play versus Huda Beauty Blush Filter. I wish I could just end the video here because both of these are so perfect. Like I would say they have kind of similar qualities, but just one's liquid form and one's like powder cream form, but in the finishes and effects, they're very similar. Now let's see how many favorite shades I have in each. Maybe that will help me. I have like 7 different favorites in this formula, like strawberry cream, coco loco, black cherry. Those are like my top 3, I would have to say. And then in the Glow Play, my top favorite shade is Blush Please. So I only have like 1 top favorite in this formula. Ooh, I think I know the winner. Okay, drum roll please. Drum roll please. Drum roll please. And the winner of the blush tournament this time around in 2025, it's the Huda Beauty blush filters. And I feel so good about that. I actually do. That was crazy. I think this is the biggest tournament I've had yet. 54 blushes is wild. That's crazy. Let me know what category you'd like to see next. I need to go fetch myself a Diet Coke, but I really hope you have a fantastic day and that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I'll have my favorites listed in the description box down below, so feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!